Hey there. So, have you noticed that you've been probably feeling a little more anxious? You get depressed. You get depressed to the point that there are some days you don't even want to roll out of bed anymore. If you finally do, you reluctantly go to work because when you get to work, you feel really, really anxious about the work you're doing and the people you're around to the point that you can't really function. Or maybe you're dealing with a lot of anxiety that's starting to creep up. Maybe you've dealt with it since you were younger, but now you're dealing with it when you're closer to your period, or if it's all the time, it's gotten so bad that you maybe have to pull off the freeway, sit there in your car, and call somebody to help calm you down if you're having a panic attack so that you can get home. These mood fluctuations, the anxiety, the crippling anxiety, the depression, the mood swings up and down, yeah, they tend to change with hormonal fluctuations, but they can be the entire month. They can be so crippling and get to the point that you just can't function. And then maybe you're actually dealing with a conversation with your doctor and they said, well, you know what, it sounds like you may need medications so that you can function throughout the day. And we have stuff for that. So if this sounds like you and it's something that you really don't want to be on meds for because you really don't need to, because you really just need to boost your happy hormones. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about what are your happy hormones and what causes imbalances in your happy hormones to give you debilitating anxiety, mood swings, and depression. And obviously, 3 ways to boost your own natural ability to boost your own happy hormone production. I'm Susanna Pueyes. I am a practitioner of Asian and functional medicine and an herbal connoisseur, and I help women like you thrive and balance your body so that you can have more energy and clarity, so you can do more of what you love and feel great and look great while you do it. So, happy hormones are exactly that. They are neurotransmitters that you have in your body. They are called serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. They are hugely responsible for how you feel, how you look, how you eat. Everything that motivates you in your behavior is a result of these little neurotransmitters that I call happy hormones. And who wouldn't want to boost a ton of them, right? And so serotonin is huge, and it's one of the most popular ones that you might have heard about. It's huge for women because fluctuations in serotonin follow our hormonal fluctuations. So serotonin follows the estrogen. When estrogen peaks, it's high, you're happy, you're social, you're on the move, you have mental clarity, everything's great, you feel balanced, your skin looks awesome, you feel sexy, you have a higher sex drive, you have a great appetite, you are balanced, you are on point. And then what happens? When you get to luteal stage, before you have your period, estrogen drops, and serotonin always follows the estrogen. So then we get angst, we get depressed, we crave those carbs because we want that quick fuel, that quick sugar to make up for that drop in serotonin, that happiness. So that's why before your period, you don't necessarily have a medical condition that has been normalized as PMS. It's just a drop in serotonin, and it's absolutely normal. But where we go wrong is we're not aware of what is normal anymore, right? So then everything gets classified as a hormonal imbalance. And so serotonin is vitally important. Dopamine is the reward happy hormone. Everything that we do right or we're recognized for, that's the reward centers. So we all want some of that, right? Either internal recognition of ourselves or external. And then oxytocin is the love hormone, the cuddle chemical. It's really, really prevalent when you have sex, you have an orgasm, and when you're breastfeeding. And so easy ways to boost your cuddle hormone is to give hugs, give love, right? And endorphins are our natural painkillers. It's what acupuncture taps into, and even some medications that we really don't want to be on, right? And so all of these are vitally important to your mood. Now, what happens is in conventional settings, when women start to go through either hormonal changes, normal cycle changes, or perimenopause, changes in mood always get blamed on our hormones, which is a partial excuse, but not the whole package, because you are a complete body of many different systems that all communicate. So it's not just hormonal. The hormonal part is a side effect, just like your moods are a side effect. Your anxiety is a side effect, okay? And so what happens is when your hormones shift, remember the serotonin and all of these happy hormones follow the hormones. But where are they made? So when conventional doctors, they want to give you medication to combat the anxiety like Lexapro or Celexa or Prozac, they're going to mask the symptoms so that you can function, okay? So that you're not having a panic attack that you have to get off the freeway, or that you can't go to work that day, or things like that. So those meds are there for you to actually just function and not just have an attack. But that's just masking the symptom, right? Because when you understand that it's not a medical condition, it's a symptom of a lot of imbalances, then we can get headway and longer changes in your lifestyle that will impact you and greatly benefit you. And so meds are not the only way to address anxiety and mood swings and depression and panic attacks. The other thing that gets blamed that is pretty much, not 100% true is genetics. If there are mental health issues in the family, especially women who maybe suffered a really horrible postpartum depression that was never dealt with, or a perimenopause, or your mother or grandmother or maternal line went through menopause early and now you're starting to see changes that are affecting your mood, these are blamed on genetics. And that's simply not true, because aside from you sharing your genes with your family and your ancestors, you guys also share environments. And environments and chemicals and toxins in the environment are huge disruptors to your happy hormone production and to hormonal production and your cells in general, okay? And so think about the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland, how he was crazy. Well, that was taken from back in the day. Those hats had linings of mercury around them. So mercury makes people crazy with mental health issues. And so that is an environmental component, of environmental toxin affecting your moods. So it's not all genetics. So don't let anybody really, tell you it's 100% genetic, because that's simply not the 100% truth. And it's simply not true that you can just deal with it with medications to kind of dumb down the pain and dumb you down of your personality and your joy. And so what is really going on? Because if it's not just addressed 100% with meds, or it's not 100% hormonal or genetic, what's really going on? Let's go back to lifestyle. It really comes back to lifestyle and your environment. When we look at where the happy hormones are produced, we have to go to the gut, because 80% of your immune system, your T cells and things like that, and your production of these happy hormone neurotransmitters are produced in the lining of your intestine. 80% is huge. It's huge. So when you have a crappy diet and it's gone on for a really long time, there's inflammation, There's imbalances in your, what we call microbiome, your good bacteria, your bad bacteria, the yeast, the viruses, all of the stuff that's in the gut. There's imbalances. So if there's all this fire, all this inflammation, all these imbalances, how are you going to have a healthy production of these happy hormones? So the mood and the anxiety and all of these shifts in behavior and the way you feel are directly correlated to the gut. And in Chinese medicine, the ancients knew this thousands and thousands of years ago, because we believe, a lot of disease starts in the gut. And that's what Western science is coming up with, especially when we look at how it's affecting your behavior and the production of your happy hormones, right? So if you're liking what I say, just go ahead and give me some hearts or some thumbs up, because, all of this comes into play. So you see why medication doesn't address this gut imbalances. And there's many, there's not just one. So you can't just go and take a probiotic. You can't just go and take an enzyme and think that you're balancing your gut. It's very, very, there's a lot of communication that we need to restore. So we look at the gut, we look at your diet, and there's tons of diet trends out there. And at first you might get relief, but we need something that's going to sustain you over time. Okay. So when we look at how we can start addressing this, you gotta always start with your gut. If you don't do anything else, you always have to have a balanced gut, microbiome, microflora, and gut health. Okay. And then second is, like I said before with the Mad Hatter, heavy metals play a huge role in our toxic overload and how our cells are communicating and how our cells are actually, creating disease and dysfunction and imbalances, and blocking function in our bodies. And heavy metals are real. They affect your fertility. They disrupt your endocrine. They disrupt your hormonal function. They disrupt a lot, and they're not really given the attention they should be given in conventional medicine and even alternative medicine. And so they are very real. And with mental health, anxiety and depression, and even changes in behavior, these have to be given a lot of priority. And once you establish that these could be one of the problems, then we can make a lot of changes in that direction, all naturally, right? And it really comes down to lifestyle. Like I said, what are you eating? How are you dealing with stress and trauma in your life? A lot of anxiety and depression can stem from childhood traumas, even adult traumas that need to be addressed, because aside from the trauma itself, your body has cellular memory. So you can shut down some of the function in the flow and what your cells actually respond to, because the trauma is a trigger, just like a heavy metal would be coming from the environment. So childhood traumas, even adult traumas, physical traumas, emotional traumas, mental traumas, all of that are very, very real, because you are a person with a mind, body, and soul and spirit, and all of that comes into play with your health. Now with women, where we go kind of and dig our own little problems, is that partially when it comes down to anxiety, depression, and all of these mood shifts, yeah, they are partially hormonal related, because remember, the serotonin follows the estrogen and all of this stuff comes into play. With women, we're so busy, we have stopped our connection. We have stopped acknowledging our connection to our shifts. We are not linear. We are supposed to go up and down, up and down. And 2 weeks before your period, the week before your period, if you're trying to function and be really productive, because the last 2 weeks you've been on fire, right? And you want to keep that going, because if you lose momentum, you are done. It's not going to work for you. And the anxiety, the mood swings, the irritability, all of that is going to eventually hit you hard, especially the week before your period, and it's gonna accumulate over time because you are not going with the way your brain and your hormones are communicating and affecting your fertility. So at a foundational level, you need to start understanding where you are in your cycle, where your productivity is, and where you are set to go inward and kind of retreat from life. Now, I'm not saying you have to quit your job or anything like that, because that's not realistic, but you have to understand where you are and where your energy is at that level, so you're not going against that and fighting and feeling more anxiety, more mood swings, more depression, and just that overall irritability that you're not getting anywhere in life, and it's just like festering inside of you. Okay, so where it comes from, your lifestyle, going against the flow. Are you sleeping appropriately? Are you eating the right foods? Because your gut is a huge component to your behavior, to your moods, to your happiness and your joy. So gut health on top of every other foundational piece that I've tapped into. So how do we boost your happy hormones? You see that the production of your happy hormones is very complicated. You can even just give somebody some more oxytocin right now just by giving a quick hug. So it's a combination of internal stuff, your biology, the chemical composition, and external triggers like hugging and kissing, and even heavy metals that can affect you in a negative way. So how do we boost this naturally? Well, very, very simply, you can just go outside and take a walk. That counts as exercise. You don't really need to go in a gym. Actually, if you go and you work out in a gym, it's great. You're working out. You are releasing serotonin and epinephrine and those adrenaline hormones, and it feels really great and you're pumped up. That is a really good release to do exercise. But if you can exercise outside, you get a double plus because you get some vitamin D. And so vitamin D triples that boost in those happy hormone productions, as well as that serotonin from sweating and making you feel good, and that dopamine because you're so proud of yourself because you just, did some cardio. You just feel good when you exercise, right? And especially if you could do it outside, double, triple plus. Another way to boost your happy hormones is you have to enjoy cooking, or at least you have to enjoy your foods. Breaking bread with family or friends, people that you enjoy. Eating is essential to our health, and the way we eat, where we eat, when we eat, and who we eat with and who we enjoy it with is part of a cultural phenomenon that we have lost in the West because we're so busy. You're probably getting your lunch from, the taco truck outside because you only have 30 minutes to eat. That's not enjoyable. You are eating under stress and fight or flight and creating more inflammation. It's just not happy. You're just quickly eating, right? When you sit down, you make a meal, you have friends and family around, it is an enjoyable, hopefully it's an enjoyable, experience. And we've lost that, but that actually boosts the production of these happy hormones because you're going to eat good food, you're going to have good conversation, and you're going to be happy and laugh and enjoy it. And that ties into your gut health. When you cook, you are in control of what you're eating, what you're putting in your body. So you have to boost gut health to boost your happy hormones. You can do everything else, but if your gut isn't right, if your gut isn't on point, if you are inflamed down there, there's going to be a contradiction. There's going to be a problem. So all of this outside joy, getting exercise, getting vitamin D, exercising outside, giving people hugs, giving people a compliment, enjoying a compliment, cooking good food, or having somebody cook food for you, all of these boost your happy hormones. But it really rests on what you are doing to boost your gut health. Fortunately, whatever diet you subscribe to, have in the past that hasn't worked, or if you're dealing with these issues, the number one thing you can focus on is your gut health. You can do that in as little as 28 days. And you don't need to buy fancy gut boosting probiotics or anything like that. You can do it on your own with whole food, plant-based foods, and you can restructure the good and the bad bacterial ratio in just 28 days. And so you can even just start there and see how your periods change, how your mood changes, and how overall you are caring for yourself and changing and boosting your happy hormone production. And you can do this at any age, because if you're cycling, you understand what I've been talking about the last couple minutes. You understand that the week before you are low energy, you don't want to do anything, you want to hide, and you feel depressed, so you might be reaching for those carbs. Now, if you're perimenopausal, the same's going on. There's a hormonal shift. Estrogen is going down, so serotonin's going down. So you may be dealing with anxiety, more insomnia. This can also apply to you. You don't need progesterone cream. You don't need bioidentical hormones, which are regular hormone replacement therapy anyway. And even if you're postmenopausal, you don't even need hormone replacement therapy to deal with the insomnia or the mood swings and the depression or the weight gain. It all comes back to the gut, ladies. It all comes back to the gut. So do not mask your symptoms. These are very serious. If you need medication to function for a little bit, that's fine. But you always need a longer term plan. Always start in the gut and then address the external environment, environmental triggers, as well as what is around your lifestyle. And so if you ever need any help with this, I'm always a happy, type happy below, and I'll personally reach out to you to see what would be appropriate for you. And that's it. Thank you.